So there's been a big news topic this week. A huge headline.
Huge
Huge headline, massive
news.
headline, absolutely ginormous headline this week, where Florence Pugh and Andrew Garfield, they're out there doing some press stuff for their new film, which is premiering. Well,
Hmm.
no, it's already premiered at TIFF, didn't it? But it's also going to be at the London Film Festival. And they make a joke about the horse meme from the poster, right? And of course, Andrew Garfield goes to get up a photo of something or other, but then actually backs away from that idea, which is a position I know, Alfie, you've been in many a time.
Yeah, many a time, many a time. I've been in the middle of a lecture and been like, yeah, you need to look at this, and then gone, oh wait, oh no, I can't show you the photo on my phone because I'm going to have to scroll through hundreds of knob pics first, and that's exactly what Andrew Garfield had to deal with mid-interview.
Yeah, I think we've all been there, really, haven't we? It's nice to know
Mm,
that we're in good company, really, if nothing else.
right, for sure. It's nice to know that Andrew Garfield is just like us.
Yeah, there's nothing different. We're the
No,
exact same. All
all
three of us.
three of
We
us
are
are
that.
Spider-Men.
We're that Spider-Man pointing me. We are. Hello and welcome back to Moving Up podcast, with your hosts, me, Adam Barlow.
And me, Alfie Walker.
It's episode 31. After a week
Right.
delay, I must apologise. My laptop had an absolute meltdown when we sat down to record. We were ready. We were going to record early as well.
We had coffee. I had a coffee. Adam had a tea. We were sat
Yeah,
down. We had agreed on a time. We were like, yeah, 2:30's great. And we sat there and we sat there and we restarted and we closed we closed Adam's laptop, redid the Skype, and this resulted in actually our voices should be crystal clear from here onwards because we're now recording a different way.
yeah. You'd hope so anyway. I don't know how close to be to my mic. This is what I should have checked before hitting record because I might be quite spiky, but I've just got to level everything out and smooth it over, which is what we do to our faces before we record anyway.
Of
But
course, yeah, that's one for the
we are,
editing suite, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, they are working overtime. It's like the Marvel Studios VFX team, just constantly tweaking.
We need a union.
We do need a union, yeah. We've got a good episode this week. We've got a spicy new little number, spicy new film from good old Tim Burton, and we've got some TV as well, haven't we, Alfie?
Yeah, we have. We've got. Let me have a think. So Adam has binge watched Jeff Goldblum's new Netflix show called KAOS. You were excited about that, so I'm excited to hear what you think. And I have watched the first 4 episodes of Rings of Power. All 3 dropped on day 1, and then last week, because of the podcast delay, means I got to watch episode 4. So I'm fully up to date with that, and I'm going to do a little sort of first thoughts on how the season's going so far.
Absolutely. I'm excited to hear what Rings of Power is like because I know the first series was a bit mixed. I've seen again mixed things about season 2, but I want to know what you think because I value your opinion. I think you're my go-to Lord of the Rings person, so I'm excited to hear what you think about that.
I'm excited to talk. I'm excited to discuss that.
Yeah, should we get started though by talking quickly, just a quick catch up about Alien Romulus?
Yeah. So Adam, you went and saw this. What was that last week? Um,
Yeah.
Go on, take it away. Tell us what you thought of it. As someone who's not a huge fan of horrors, what did you think of Alien Romulus?
So I think I messaged you when I came out, but I said I had just a really great time with it. I was kind of on the fence with it. I was like, I don't know if this is going to be for me. I've only seen the first 2, but I enjoyed them both equally, and I think this one is just as good. I think the effects are brilliant. It's got probably the strongest emotion of any of the films. I think of the first 2. I don't know if that's controversial to say. I think Kaylee Spaney as the lead in this film is excellent. She's done incredible work this year and kind of just bursting onto the scene as well. And you've got, of course, an excellent character in that synthetic human. I mean, what a guy. He is the GOAT of the franchise, I've got to
Yeah,
say.
phenomenal.
Is it, yeah, David Johnson, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, David Johnson. Yeah, he's like I said in my review, it's next level how great he is in this, and Yeah, I cannot give him enough praise for his role in this film, and I think you're right with the emotion angle because yeah, I think his performance along with Kaylee Spaney is like top level emotion in this franchise, more so than even 1 and 2.
Yeah, I do agree. I'm really glad I went to see it because, as you know, I'm always a little bit nervous for that sort of thing, but I braved it. I went in early as well, which you and I rarely do. I went in before even the adverts had started. I had my snacks with me. I can't remember what I had, but I was full up with food. I think I went to Spoons beforehand. That was it, and I was just ready. I sat at the back, literally back row. In fact, I forgot to mention again another weird experience in the cinema recently. I've had a few weird cases in recent memory. I've kept some of them out of the podcast, but I'll talk about this one. I got there in good time, and these two blokes come up the stairs towards me. I'm right at the back and in line with the steps in the room. And they come up and they're like, "Oh, sorry, mate. I think you're in our seat." I'm like, "I'm definitely not." But yeah, I was like, "Oh, sorry, sorry." So I move along too and let them sit down where I was. And then, sort of a few seconds go by. They were kind of like, I'd say middle aged. One of them was quite big. One of them was quite skinny and lean. They look kind of like cartoon characters. Like they really each other, but they were friendly enough. And a couple of seconds go, a couple of minutes go by, and they then ask, "Sorry, mate, do you know how to recline these seats?" And I was like, "Oh, you can't recline these ones. It's only the ones at the front, I think." And they're like, "Oh, that's weird. I thought we bought recliners." I was like, "Yeah, no, it's only the ones at the front. Sorry, guys." And then again, a couple of minutes go by where they just sort of sit back in their seats and they're a bit grumpy themselves. And then they're like, "Wait, mate, this is row A, isn't it?" I'm like, "No, no, this is like row F
And
or
Zed.
whatever,
Yeah,
yeah, way at
literally.
the back. This is double Z." And they're like, "Oh, no, we're in the wrong seat. Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, this is your seat." And then they go down to the front, and they couldn't have been further from their seat. They were bang in the middle at the front of the screen, front row of
How
recliners.
did
I
they
don't know how
manage
they won.
that?
They must be looking at 90 degrees up. I don't know. I don't know how you watch a movie like that, but there we are. They really, yeah, just completely got it wrong.
One thing I do want to get your opinion of is how do you feel about a CGI deepfake Ian Holm in as the synthetic?
I didn't think that there'd be anything scary in this film than that hybrid. But that deepfake, I have nothing against deepfakes usually, but on this occasion, I don't think I enjoyed it. I really felt it was really off. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
That's the one bit I wasn't sure on, and I know some people have excused it, but for me personally, it didn't work.
Yeah, so I don't know what I made. I watched Mark Commode's review of Alien Romulus, and he made a really good point about saying like this is the one time you can really easily get away with like a synthetic mask with CG enhancements and
Yeah,
not do a CGI face because it's a synthetic, it's a fake person. You could have just done a really detailed Ian Holm mask and enhanced it with some CG and stuff, and it would have been phenomenal. And I do kind of agree, but from what I'm aware, his family really wanted him to be in this film. There's a whole thing with how Ian Holm felt forgotten by Hollywood and felt like he didn't ever get sort of a bit of limelight. Basically, he was only known for his 2 roles. And he said that he always wanted to be in films, and his family were like more than pushing for him to be in this as a synthetic. So I do think that's quite cool that he got to be in it. But I do agree, it is a bit off. Like, I think the eyes, nose, and mouth were all too small on the head of it,
yeah,
and it was
yeah.
just looked a bit off. But I like the idea and the concept for sure.
I think what didn't quite work for me is just the character that he has to play in that like it's very much the villain of the piece, and it's a very dislikable character. I don't know
Yeah,
why. I don't know. I know again the actor's very different from the character, and it wasn't even the actor playing it, but it seems like a weird one for the family to be like, "Oh, he'd love to have played this role. He'd love to have played this villain." I'm like, if I was dead, I'd only want to do cool things when I'm dead, but that's just me. I mean, to
no,
be
yeah,
fair, sorry, let me
it is a
rephrase that.
little bit odd.
It's be in
Yeah,
any
right.
film, full stop.
There we go. Even when I'm dead.
Yeah. particularly when I'm dead. I don't need to be in a film when I'm alive, but when I'm dead, best believe I'm leading a franchise. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
Don't say it again.
In to
Don't say it
talk
again.
about a new film. Let's begin to talk about a new such a crap. Anyway, wait, I'm sticking with it. I'm going to be reviewing the second Beetlejuice film. It's another legacy sequel. You bored of these yet,
Hmm.
Alfie?
Well, apparently Hollywood isn't, because they are everywhere, and apparently this film's doing super well. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of them.
It has. It has. In fact, let me, while I'm talking, try and get up some of the figures of the success that this film's had because it's quite mental
So I
how well
believe
it's
it's
done.
the second most successful film ever released in September, which
Yeah.
is a bold statement straight off the bat. I guess it is the end of summer dump month, but it's still quite a big thing for it to be second biggest film ever in September.
It's broken some other records or has done very well in other sort of ways of measuring it. But this is what blew my mind. It's apparently already outgrossed the first film's entire global run because it opened with $145.4 million at the worldwide box office. That's just over the opening weekend, and the budget was 100 million. So it's already basically made back its money, which is insane.
It's crazy. I did not think it would get this reaction, honestly.
No, yeah. I mean, are you a fan of Beetlejuice? Where do you lay on the first one?
So I've seen it a long time ago, and then I've rewatched bits. But honestly, I need to do a proper rewatch. But I'm not particularly nostalgic for it in any way at all. Um,
Mm.
from what I remember, it was a good, fun sort of romp. But yeah, by no means am I like excited or sort of got nostalgia for this character, other than it being Michael Keaton and Tim Burton kind of thing. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. So I saw it for the first time literally last month, and I had a good time with it. I thought it was goofy. It's very random. I'm probably going to be saying similar things about the sequel, but it knows what it is, and it's creative in what it tries to depict. And for the most part, yeah, I had a good time with it. But as you say, I've got no nostalgia for it, so it's weird that they've brought it back just randomly as well, 36 years later after the original. It's like, okay, we're doing this again, sure.
Yeah.
But so okay, I'll get into it. My thoughts on Beetlejuice. Don't say it a third time. They're saving that for the threequel. Um, it's so most of the cast returns, apart from the dad, who if you know what that actor's done, it's pretty clear why. I will say, well, it's not a perfect film. One of my flaws with it is the fact that the dad character has a huge bearing on the plot. I don't know if they even got him to do some voice acting in it. It might just be someone doing an impression, or maybe it's unused lines from the first film. I'm not sure how they do it, but his character is present in it, just not the actual actor. Um, as far as I know, it's a little bit strange, and it feels weird how because the whole reason that these characters come together in this film and the whole motivator of the plot is the fact that the dad's died, and they come together and reunite for a funeral for him. And they give him like a lovely send off, and everyone says nothing but good stuff about him, and it
Yeah,
feels a
I've
bit
heard
weird.
about this online. I'm already that puts me on the wrong foot, because
Yeah,
from what I'm aware, it is actually him as well, doing the
doing the
voiceover.
voice. Yeah.
That's what I saw online, like all the discussing film posts and stuff like that. Our number one source for film news, but yeah, apparently it is actually him doing it, which come on, like it's
Yeah,
weird that that's what the plot has to be, and like you said, doing a funeral with some really like nice speeches about him or whatever. Like,
yeah. It is. It's certainly bizarre. I don't think if I was directing, I would have gone the same route. But he's had work since, so it's not like Tim Burton's just plucked him out of prison and tried to do so. But he, I'd be wary about that going in. You can look at what the actor's done in your own time. I'm not going to repeat it here. But anyway, new members of the cast are here. Willem Dafoe. You've got Jenna Ortega, fresh off the bat with Wednesday. You've also got who else? I think Tim Burton's girlfriend slash wife at the moment, Monica Bellucci. She's in there. You've got Arthur Conti, who I recognise from something. I don't know what. He's got a really recognisable face. I'm sure he's in some, I don't know, some superhero film or some drama that I've watched. Maybe not. Oh, he's in House of the Dragon, which I haven't seen, but he is in that. So if you recognise that name, then there we are. Um, we've also got Danny DeVito in a very small role. I forgot about that.
I
It's
didn't know he
kind
was
of
in this film.
yeah, it's a weird one. He's in it for about 2 minutes. He doesn't leave much of an impression, but he's in there. It's again, random is the best way to describe it. Justin Theroux is really funny in it. He's doing a great job playing a very unlikable character, but also, well, very unlikable at the end. But for the most part of the film, you're just a goofy little goofer, and I enjoyed his character a lot. We've also got, obviously, returning from the cast, Winona Ryder as Lydia Dietz. You've got Michael Keaton playing the titular Beetlejuice, and you've got um, Catherine O'Hara as well, returning as the mum, who is, what's her name? Is it Delia Dietz, I think? I think that's
Yeah, I
it.
think so.
I want to give a shout out as well to Bern Gorman, who plays Father Damien, this vicar, who is this absolutely shameless vicar who at any point is like, I'm just rescuing my sheep, bringing them into religion. Like he's just so typically like uncomfortably polite and nice. And it ends. This film sort of comes to a climax where there's a wedding going on, and Beetlejuice hijacks it and possesses it. And like the dinner scene in the first film, they all start like lip syncing to the song and just moving really weirdly. And they all start lip syncing it, and this bigger character is going like, yeah, so was it, and his jaw's like moving from side to side. He's doing like weird eyebrow movements, and it's the funniest thing. I was absolutely in stitches. And that goes for the rest of the film as
Oh, of
well. I found
course.
this film to be incredibly funny. I laughed throughout the whole thing, and I really enjoyed it. Like I was excited to go and see it. I wore a Beetlejuice t-shirt, even though it was pissing it down with rain, so I just kept my coat on. But I saw it in iSense as well. It was on a big screen, big, loud, and it was like the first screening of the day. It was a midday showing, so it wasn't particularly busy, but I could tell that everyone in the room had a great time with it, and we all walked out and we were just sort of like smiling. And as I say, although there are issues with it and it's a little bit messy, there's too many characters. I think you can probably gather from the amount of people I listed, and each character's got
Mm.
their own thing that they're doing. And while that's all intertwined, it does get a bit messy. And I think if you were to watch this film having not seen the first one, it might all be a bit too much and a bit too wacky, a bit too zany. But for the most part, I think it's a great sequel. It's one of the more honest and one of the more creatively unique and interesting legacy sequels that we've had recently. I think you and I are more favourable to the Ghostbusters legacy sequels than other people are. I would say this is to Beetlejuice what Ghostbusters Afterlife was to Ghostbusters, right?
Right, yeah.
Where it sort of follows this character that has had a stint in particularly US cartoons, right? I don't think there's a Beetlejuice cartoon, much like there was the real Ghostbusters cartoon and things like that, and it brings it forward. I don't. I think it does a decent enough job of getting you back into that world and sort of re-establishing the characters because they weren't too fleshed out. You can kind of step into it, but I think just the very idea of Beetlejuice is very odd and kooky, and it looks bizarre and um, a little bit ugly to look at. But it's got this charm to it, and that was one of my favorite things. They've kept the sort of practical effects from the first film. They've kept the stop motion sandworms and stuff. Um, Danny Elfman carries on with the score, and it's revamped, and it's with a full-on orchestra, and it's properly um, bumping. It's great. It's a great score. I've been listening to it since, and they do the same title like slow pan through the model village at the start with the same font, and it really does feel like you've just stepped into the next one. So if you watch them back to back, I think you'll have a great evening. And I'd recommend it if you've got a free Saturday. Then that's what I would do with it. But I would recommend it wholeheartedly, with its flaws aside, with its sort of messy, overstuffed plot. It's really good. I liked it.
What was Michael Keaton like in it? Because a lot of people were saying from the trailers that he isn't capturing the same sort of pizzazz and energy that he has in the first one, which is fair enough because he's a probably 70-year-old man who now wants to go by the name Michael Douglas. Don't ask me, but Yeah, is his energy still on point? Is he like he is in the first one, or can you tell it's done 30, 40 years later?
For my money, I think he was again, like the effects, it was as though he's just stepped in like through a door and into this film. I really don't think he missed a beat. I think there's some things that he doesn't quite recreate. He's got a bit more of a gut to him, but I think it adds to the character, like it adds to the charm of him because it's like, oh, he's just been doing this office job for 36 years, and look at him, he's just washed out and tired, but still he's got that energy to him. Like I'm trying to think in the first film, there's that advert that he does that initially gets the attention of the original couple from the household, right? Of the ghosts. And it's like him dressed up as a cowboy and selling like, "Come on,
Yeah.
come on, come on down, sell on, come and get the Beetlejuice," all that stuff. There's nothing as energetic as that from memory, but there's still the same gags. Like he talks at a million miles an hour, and there's like he switches accents and speaks in Italian or Spanish at one point. Um, and he's always doing bits, and like it doesn't make any sense, but I love it. I feel like it's got a kind of similar feel to Robin Williams, to um, the Jim Carrey, um, and that kind of like hit him hard and fast with jokes, almost like what Ryan Reynolds is doing, where it's like every other line is a quip
Every
or
single
some
line,
sort of
totally right.
yeah, just random noises and facial expressions. Like I think he looks with the makeup and the hair. He already looked quite grizzled and old in the first film, so it kind of doesn't you don't really notice it that much. And I think with the lighting and stuff, it wasn't an issue for me at all. I would say he doesn't really miss a beat. So
Amazing. That's so good to hear. I'm quite looking forward to it now. I think you've actually persuaded me to go watch it. I think I'm going to rewatch the first one and then potentially go catch it this weekend.
absolutely, it's also worth saying they do a bit of with Play-Doh, explaining how the dad dies, and they do like stop motion. It's very in the same like kind of uncomfortable,
Yeah.
uncanny Play-Doh, like some of Tim Burton's other work or stuff that he's produced. Yeah, yeah, it's great fun.
The Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, the Amazon TV show. Off the bat, Adam, have you watched it?
No, so I've always been on the fence with this because I don't know. I think I've asked you before, but I don't know what kind of importance there is to watch it. It's not the same as the Lord of the Rings, except it kind of is with the designs. I don't know where it sits, just as a sort of general viewer.
Okay, cool. So basically, obviously, as we know, it's the J.R.R. Tolkien books. It's obviously based off any of the other stuff other than the three Lord of the Rings books, basically. So it's all the Sauron stuff, all the stuff from the Silmarillion, like all this pre-work and from the appendices, all of that kind of stuff. It's set thousands of years before the Lord of the Rings films, and as you said, it's not actually in the same universe, but it has Howard Shore who did the theme, and it has the same Sauron theme as the Lord of the Rings films, and it's all filmed in New Zealand with a lot of the same cast and a lot of the same crew, and production design and stuff like that. So it's not in the same universe officially, but the creators basically want it to be like a prequel to those films almost.
Okay.
Yeah, and essentially it's just displays the creation of the rings basically. So we've been guaranteed 5 seasons of it, I believe, and we're on season 2. And basically by season 5 we're going to have that battle that you see in the prequel, the prologue for the Lord of the Rings, where you see them defeat Sauron and almost destroy the ring, that kind of thing. So season 1 didn't hit well. So the critic reception for season 1 was 83% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the general public consensus was 38. And then season 2 has got an 84 from critics, and notably higher, it's 58 from the general public and general watchers. So it's got a higher score, and that is only off 4 episodes to go off so far. So there's still another 6 to be released. It's one every Thursday. Um, but I do agree with that so far. I think I'll go into a little bit just about some of the actors and stuff in a moment, but overall, it's definitely taking a step in the right direction, I'd say. The main story, the main bulk of it, follows Galadriel and Elrond, and basically and Sauron. That's sort of your main storylines, and there's also a big storyline with Numenor, so the place where Aragorn's from, and what happens to that bit of Middle Earth, and how Isildur is obviously fighting for the ring in that battle kind of thing. No one majorly that I think you'll recognise cast-wise. So young Galadriel is played by Mifford Clark. Robert Aramayo, I think his name is. He was in Game of Thrones briefly. Charlie Vickers plays Sauron. Maxim Baldry plays Isildur. So they're all fairly not that well known, but they do a fantastic job in my opinion. Lenny Henry's also in the first season, which is kind of funny. That's probably the only person you'd recognise.
What does he play? Is it a Hobbit?
Basically, yes. He plays a half-foot, which is like a Hobbit predecessor, basically.
Okay. Of course he does.
So season 1 didn't get off to a good start, really. People were not happy with it, but it's kind of predictable. Season 1 was almost all set up, and now season 2 is kicking into it, and you're like, oh, okay, perfect. We've got Sauron deceiving elves. We've got Sauron making the rings for the dwarves. You've got all this sort of like treachery going on. Season 1, I won't spoil madly, but season 1 is like on basically how Mordor was made. So now Mordor's made, obviously that's in full gear. It's sort of all these storylines. It took 10 episodes basically to get you to where we are now, and now it's sort of getting into gear a bit more, and really, like I said, only 4 episodes in, but you can see the story going places basically. So most people's main criticism, which is quite a valid point, I think, is that there's too much going on. You've got, like, I can't even remember the names of the characters half the time. Obviously with their names being quite exotic anyway, it's hard enough. But you've got Galadriel and the elves with Elrond. You've then got other spin-off elves. You then have the whole Numenor stuff. You then have the orc stuff. The orcs are given real personality in the show, and emotion, and shown that they're not all bad, which is an interesting take.
This is the thing that I've heard
Sauron
most about
stuff.
with the orcs.
Yeah, so the orcs are, I've got a family, and he's like hugging his baby because he doesn't want to go fight and stuff like that. Like, it's apparently it's what Tolkien wrote about in a lot of his later work, but
Okay.
people are like, mate, they're evil elves, they're orcs. Like, why am I? And there's also a whole plot line with Southlanders and like men, and then there is also a plot line with 2 different wizards who haven't met yet, so we don't know if that's Gandalf, Saruman, the Blue Wizards, Radagast. There's a whole thing in the air about that. There's also a plot line with hobbits or half-foots, and there's another plot line as well. There's so much going on, and it is a bit overwhelming because often they'll touch on probably 4 storylines per episode. The next episode will touch on another 4, and then you'll go back to the previous 4 the next episode. So you kind of forget maybe what's going on with certain storylines, and it's a lot to take on. A lot of people are saying that they should have maybe focused it solely on Sauron and done what they originally said they were going to do with the Acolyte, with the whole like focusing on an evil, which would have been quite an interesting take, seeing like the whole thing from Sauron's point of view more so. But yeah, I would say overall it's really getting its feet in my opinion. It's got its boot in the door. It's given me like more to go on. So with House of the Dragon, each episode just felt a little lackluster, and I felt like I need more. This show gives it to you. Like at the end of each episode, you're like, damn, like I've just seen this. Damn, I've just seen like this happen. I want to see what's next, and you're happy with how much you got. Like each episode's over an hour, so it's a nice sort of a chunk of episode, and a lot happens. But yeah, overall, season 2 is 100% taking the right footing so far. We're really getting some decent story. It's just a little busy and a little meandering on some plot lines, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes overall.
Is it going to be 10 episodes again?
Yeah, so 10 episodes, and I believe they've, upon agreeing to do the series, they had to officially say we're doing 5 seasons no matter what. So even if the ratings and the viewerships drop off, I think they legally have to do the full 5 seasons, which I think is kind of good, because it means at least you're going to watch a show that's going to completion. But yeah, it's nice to know that we're actually going to get the full storyline. But yeah, it's 10 episodes per season.
Do you think it could have been done better as a film? Or do you think it's right to have done it as a series? And do you think it's right to have given Amazon the rights?
The thing is, production wise, it's phenomenal. It's the same level as the films, if not beyond, with costume and sets and everything like that. The main complaint people have, which I personally can't have because I haven't read the Silmarillion and the spin-off books and stuff. I've only ever read The Hobbit, and then tried to read Lord of the Rings, basically. So I can't say how well it's treating the source material. Most people are saying it's butchering it, which is most people's complaints. So it's really difficult to tell. I can't really have an opinion on it, which is a bit of a wet blanket answer, isn't it? But basically people are saying, like, what are you doing? This is not what happens in the books. But yeah, it depends what you want, isn't it? If you can take each project with a grain of salt and appreciate it off its own merit, this show's pretty damn good. Like, it's high budget.
Yeah, if it's entertaining you with good roles, good characters, good music, and a story that grips you each week, and you keep coming back to the next episode, then it can do a lot worse than that, I feel.
It's doing its job, right? That's what you want. You want TV that engages you, that you're impressed with, and is a bit of a spectacle. And I cannot wait for this Thursday to watch the next episode. So for me personally, it's doing my job. Season 1 over season 2 already, for sure. Season 2 is a lot more meandering, but yeah, like, what more do you want from a TV show than being happy with each episode overall?
Yeah, which is more than I can say for The Acolyte, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah, you're spot on though. Like, even I'm a huge Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon fan, right? But Rings of the Power season 2 is overshadowing House of the Dragon season 2 for me personally. I think we've had a summer of piss poor TV. We've had The Acolyte, we've had The Bear season 3, which I was not happy with. We've had season 4 of The Boys, which was good but not up to the standard of the previous seasons. And we've had and then House of the Dragon was also a bit of a disappointment. So to finally finish on Rings of Power, I'm pretty chuffed.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying it, man. I think that's good. I think that's a bit of a hot take, because I think a lot of people will probably back House of the Dragon more. But it's good that there are people people like you out there that are enjoying it, because, Amazon's sinking a lot of money into it, so you better hope there's someone out there is at least,
a hell of a lot of money into it, right? It's crazy money, but billions, I believe. So no, but like, if I can watch it independent, I haven't read the source material. I can sit there and like imagine that, Robert Armijo, or whatever his name is, sorry, playing young Elrond, and I'm like, yeah, this is the same person Hugo Weaving's playing. It's cool. It's cool to see more story and see how Sauron deceived the elves and deceived the dwarfs and crafted the rings, and seeing how all of Aragorn's family die in a whatever because they don't exist in Lord of the Rings, and seeing the forefathers of the hobbits and potentially Gandalf. Like, of course I'm going to like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that. You said we've had a piss poor summer of TV, which I don't disagree with. But one show I've heard you talk about recently is Slow Horses. It's a bit of a tangent, but
my
do you
dude.
want to sing its praises quick? Because I need to get on there.
if I could recommend one show for you to watch, I'd say forget about Bear season 3. You could skip Rings of Power for now. Watch Slow Horses. My God,
Okay.
it is. I don't think I've been so invested in a TV show so quickly. So there is 3 seasons already fully released, and season 4 is currently releasing 1 episode every week. So second episode is tomorrow, actually, of season 4, and I cannot wait, my dude. Take a breath. It follows, like, basically, they're called the Slow Horses, and it's a team of MI5 agents who have all done something shit. They've all either failed some huge training exercise, or they've done something really dodgy, or they've accidentally murdered someone that they shouldn't have, and they get sent to Slough House, and they get branded as the Slow Horses, and they basically just get given all the paperwork to do. But Gary Oldman is head of the Slow Horses. You slowly find out why he's there and stuff, and my God, it is good. Every episode you're like, this is so cool. Season 3 especially, I was gripped. Obviously you have the stereotypical thing with seasons maybe getting worse as they go on, but season 1 and season 3 of the ones I've watched were phenomenal. Like, you always think, oh, where's this going, and slowly every episode you're like, oh my God, yeah, this is so cool. And they interweave all the MI5 like head office doing stuff, and it's also shady, and it's set in Britain. It's so cool, my man. You gotta watch it. I cannot sing its praises.
Is it set in the modern day? Because I feel like it might be a good companion piece to watch after a James Bond film.
No, genuinely, it's exactly how it feels. It's got that James Bond vibe. It's got the sleekness and the, like, especially like compared to the Daniel Craig era, where you've got like teams sort of like MI5 against itself, and you've got like people killing other agents and like in secret, and you've got like the head of MI5 and the one under her, so first desk and second desk, and they're like at a battle with each other, trying to get in the top position of power. You've got Gary Oldman, who was like basically their top agent in the Cold War, and then now he's been renegated to look after the Slow Horses, and he's obviously a top agent still, but he's like this fat, grotesque man, and he like farts and smokes, and he is Gary Oldman is, what an actor, my man. That's someone that I always forget to bring up when we do our like, who's your actors you love. Gary Oldman is so great.
Yeah, he's done so many roles as well that you don't even necessarily think of, because you just lose him in the role. Like, I forget, one of my favorite films that I've seen in the last sort of 10 years was Darkest Hour, and I think people were mixed on it at the time, but it did, it was up for awards and things, and it did very well around awards season, I think, or it was certainly nominated for a lot of things. But just he loses himself in this really likable portrayal of Winston Churchill. And I always remember it because my dad took me to see that instead of seeing The Greatest Showman. That Christmas. So while everyone at school was talking about that, I was like, I was still singing the songs, don't get me wrong, but I was like, guys, The Darkest Hour. I mean, it's great. The music as well. The Darkest Hour, like I was humming that as well. I was like, if you like The Greatest Showman, you're gonna love The Darkest Hour. And they're like, what are you on about?
That's so true about losing him in the roles.
It was the same Christmas that The Last Jedi came out as well, and I think I saw that twice in under a week. It was the first film I saw twice in the cinema, just probably out of disbelief, looking back. But I remember my dad was like, "Right, we're going to the cinema." I'm like, "Surely not to see The Last Jedi again, Dad?" What? He's like, "No, this is history. You're doing a GCSE in history. You're going to learn some bloody stuff right now." I was like, "Okay." I guess Star
You're
Wars
so spot on with like losing him in the roles though, because like I forgot that he played Truman in Oppenheimer as well, didn't he? Like,
yeah,
that tiny scene he was in steals the show. Like, and then he's in all the Batman films as well, isn't he? He plays everything about everything he's in. I'm like scrolling through his filmography here, and yeah, so great. Everybody loves Sirius Black, don't they, in those films? Like, I don't know if you're aware, but the film Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, that's a similar sort of vibe film. and that didn't get received very well by critics, from what I'm aware. And I believe the estate said that like Gary Oldman will never be allowed to play this character again if they do a sequel. And everyone is saying that this is his, like, well, fuck you, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy writer. I don't need this. I've got Slow Horses instead. And yeah, like, too right. It's so smart, so smart.
Excellent, yeah. You know what? I mean, he'd never do it now because he's done, as you say, similar stuff. But I think he'd do a great job as the next M.
Yeah. What a good
Put him in
call.
there. Or just James Bond. I mean,
James Bond, yeah. Gary Oldman,
James Bond,
Sirius Black,
fastest old
charge.
man.
Just...
Old man, more like old James Bond. Hashtag James Bond gone anti-woke.
Fat James Bond, Gary Oldman cast.
Gary Fat Man in fat suit cast as Fat Bond. What's this? I've got a lightning on my fingers. Very good. I'm buying Zeus. You see, it's me, Jeff Goldblum, and we're going to be talking about KAOS, the new Netflix show.
Does he do that in the show? I hope so.
He kind of does. I think it's the first or second episode. He goes like, oh no, he goes for a little fist bump, or I think he goes to touch someone's hand. He's like, oh, did you see that? We had sparkles. Like that. We made sparkles. Like, he's so. Actually, now I think about it, there's too much similarity between that and his role in Thor. But anyway, oh, what was it? What are you? The god of sparkles, very impressive.
Yeah, right. Isn't it?
Falling down a rabbit hole. I'm, as you know, a huge fan of Jeff Goldblum. I've got a T-shirt that arrived a couple of days ago that says Jeff Goldblum and the Mildred Snipes Orchestra, and it's some Palm Springs T-shirt, just really random. But I've gotten a size too big as well, so I'll probably never wear it. I've also got, just the other day, a signed little kind of double track thing by him and Haley Reinhart, I think. But yeah, anyway, point is, I've got a load of Jeff Goldblum random tat in my room, like DVDs and such. Anyway, this is the new show from Charlie Covell, who I believe was behind another fairly popular Netflix show called, let me just double check, called The End of the Fucking World on Channel 4.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched that.
So, yeah, they're definitely very concerned with putting a lot of representation into their work. And I think of shows that go, I don't know, if you're watching this, you'll probably think, I think whatever your political outlook view is, or your kind of disposition around all that stuff, it does feel very woke, this show. I'll say that going for it. So that will either, I guess, turn some people off or kind of be like, okay, yeah, no, this is my thing. But either way, I think the way it's implemented is really organic and very, very cool to see, I think, with how creative they get with it. So anyway, KAOS is a modern retelling of a load of Greek mythology. It's a sort of dark comedy with Jeff Goldblum at the helm as Zeus, king of the gods. You've also got Janet McTeer playing his sister Hera, but also his wife Hera. So you can just tell, like, it's a really messy, twisty, and uncomfortable relationship, a weird family dynamic. And I think it's a really fun show. So I'll go through some of the cast here. You've also got Nabhan Rizwan, I think that's how you say his name, or Nabhan Rizwan, who plays Dionysus, who's their son, or sorry, Zeus's son, not Hera's son. But his mother gets turned into a bee by Hera out of just spite. There's just loads of silly ways that they allude to the myths, but bring it forward to a kind of larger than life, very dramatic modern setting. And I had I enjoyed it. I as I say, I watched it in about 3 or 4 days, mainly so I'd be ready for the podcast that we never recorded in the end. But I'm extra ready now, extra prepared. You've also got a fantastic trans actor in there whose name is Misha Butler. They play KAOS, who is this character that dies in the show, and um, Aurora Perrineau's character meets him, uh, in the underworld. Aurora plays Eurydice, who is the husband of um, Orpheus, played by Killian Scott. Again, another standout. I'm trying to wrap my head around all these names because it's all like you were saying with the Russian names. You've got that with Greek gods and Greek prophets, and it is a little bit confusing. So I definitely recommend watching it with subtitles. If you've got a baseline knowledge of Greek mythology, you'll probably be like, "Oh yeah, I know that." In fact, you might even see some of the plot coming. See, my kind of uh, connection to Greek mythology, probably similar to you, is I love Hercules, the Disney film, right?
Yeah,
So that's kind of
literally.
the extent of my knowledge. I know I know the Minotaur stuff, and I remember like Medusa. There's kind of characters like that are in it, not necessarily in leading roles, but there's all those familiar names, and it's set in Crete. It's the Mount Olympus is in it, um, and you've got the city of the underworld and the undead. And David Thalois plays Hades, who is just excellent casting. He plays this
Oh,
really
great.
northern, yeah, he's this northern bloke that just sits behind a desk. He's like, "Oh, hang on, we've got to fix the frame. There's too many people going through to the next life, Zeus." It works fantastically because I should have said off the bat, it was initially meant to be played by Hugh Grant, which I think would also kind of makes a lot more sense when you watch the show around it because it's a very British production. But the fact that you've got Jeff Goldblum in there throws it off somewhat because his whole family either um, is either Kiwi or British.
Right.
So it's a little bit confusing. But Jeff Goldblum has so much charisma and so much charm. I think he has got a similar energy to Hugh Grant in the fact that he's old but also quite charismatic at the same time. Although
Yeah, a bit
Jeff Goldblum
camp,
does a
a
great
bit. Yeah, totally.
totally, yeah. And Jeff Goldblum has this great ability to turn on this sort of unlikability because I was really like when I was watching the show and watching the trailers, I was like, I'm a big fan of Jeff Goldblum. I don't think you're going to make this character that unlikable, but he is the villain of the piece, right? But by episode two, I'm like, oh no, he's a dick. Like, so I think the way they expertly make this extremely charismatic and friendly actor seem just relentless and paranoid and frankly a bit irritating to watch is excellent. Like you kind of love to hate him, and I think
Yeah.
that's a brilliant position to put him in. I skipped over it earlier, but Eurydice and Orpheus are married in the first episode. Orpheus very much in love with Eurydice. Eurydice has kind of fallen out of love with Orpheus, and you get this narration throughout the whole show by Stephen Delane, sorry, who plays Prometheus, who's the god that gave humans fire, and he's strung up on this cliffside being eaten slowly by an eagle, which is just a good bit of visual comedy. But every now and then he gets zapped to help, teleported to go and help and sort of be a therapist slash consort. Is that the word? Sort of like advisor to Zeus. And that actor does a great job. He's very funny and does a good job with the voiceover. Like I say, he has a helpful way of alluding to where the plot's going. If each episode doesn't necessarily always add up, like you were saying with
Right. Yeah.
Rings of Power and Slow Horses, it does take a lot of meandering routes, and you're not always sure what the end goal is. Um, for the most part, I think it's a really solid show. It has some great gags. It has some real moments of emotion. I think particularly Killian Scott as Orpheus is excellent. I wasn't familiar with that myth or the fact that this guy that character in mythology is apparently a very gifted musician, and in this he's basically a Harry Styles type character where he gets recognised on the street, and he's just really very friendly. He's very hyper, very driven by love. And I'll dip slightly into spoilers. This isn't anything beyond episode 2 of 8, so I don't think it's too bad to say. But you initially meet Eurydice, who's fallen out of love with Orpheus, but he doesn't know that. It's very much like a one-sided relationship where Orpheus is like writing these songs for her, and it's really shouting about his love. And the song in the first episode is actually made and produced by Dan Smith from Bastille, and you can totally tell it's a Bastille song. And again, it's been on my playlist recently, and it's a banger. Would recommend. Um, but he's such a likable character that is almost painted out to be confused and a little bit ditzy, and he kind of got his heart in the right place, but he also is a bit selfish because of love. So Eurydice ends up dying at the end of the first episode. And it's a bit of a like, oh my god, okay, like that was out of nowhere. But it's prophesized at the beginning of the first episode, and by the end, you're like, oh, that's where she's heading. So she's then dead, but to get reincarnated in the mythology, you need to have your like this coin placed in your mouth when you die. Um, but Orpheus sort of selfishly takes it out just so that he can go and then rescue her because he doesn't want to be alone. And along this journey, you've got Dionysus helping him as well, just because Dionysus wants to have a better role. Like he's just god of sex basically, god of like lust and fun and where like god of drugs or whatever it is. Um, uh, Again, standout character is Dionysus, but you've got this weird. You can probably tell I'm jumping around a bit, but there's so much I'm trying to cover it all. But I think it probably is doing too much. I think now I'm really trying to streamline my review. I've now like started.
Yeah.
I'm in short. Let me just like wrap it up. What a dreadful review! I've really gone off piste. I'm sorry. Point is, there's some real standout characters in it. I recommend it for sure. Is it doing too much? Probably. The season doesn't come to an end. Like it very much is picking up pace, and you're like, oh, shit's gonna hit the fan in season 2, which I don't believe's been greenlit yet. It probably will be, but I mean, with Netflix, who bloody knows? I'd like it to be. I'd definitely watch it. Um, it's got its flaws. I think some of it is very, sorry, not very. Some of it is hard to follow with the names, like I say, with the amount of characters and with the amount of locations. But then in the same vein, lots of it is very predictable if you know the myths. And you're like, yeah, I know Zeus is going to get overthrown. Like, yeah, I know this is going to happen. I see that that character's going to die. I see that they're not going to, get out of that place that they're in. I see the myth that you've taken there. And in that respect, it doesn't quite work all the time. But I think there's a lot worse you can do than seek out this film and give it a watch. Seek out this show and give it a watch because it's got some real high points. And I think I was surprised by how moved I was by episode 8, where there's a reuniting of a couple of characters, and you're like, yeah, that really hit. That really worked for me. So I'm invested. And I probably need to rewatch before the second series because it's, as I say, there's a lot in there. But if you're a fan of Greek mythology, if you're a fan of Jeff Goldblum, if you're a fan of Zeus and the actor that plays Dionysus, or just want like an interesting, knotty, sort of larger than life version of Modern Family, then I'd recommend it.
It might be quite a good springboard almost because I know I'm for one. Once I watch a TV show, I then go away usually, and like after watching Slow Horses, I was then going away and seeing like if there's any truth to it, if there's certain stories that's real, like, and then finding out obviously it wasn't, and then looking at the books that this person's wrote. I imagine it might be quite good in that sense where you can watch this show, get a bit inspired by it, and then go and read some of the Greek mythology and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I certainly found myself looking up some of the characters. Like I say, with Orpheus was one in the first episode because I was like, is this a guy a Greek god or is he just is he plucked from nothing or is he in a myth? So yeah, totally. It does inspire you to go out and read wider and look for other films and other similar TV shows. So that's only a good thing, I think, if it encourages you to seek out other storytellers' work. But as I say, probably the biggest flaw is if you can gather from the reviews, there's probably a bit too much going on. It probably bites off a bit more than it can chew. And I'm trying to think what myths they leave out. Like I'm trying to think if there's anything they can still bring in because it's like they kind of took everything and just shoved it in. I'm like, you could have probably kept that character for later. You could have kept them for later, and this plotline for later because it's all a bit jumbled. But for the most part, it's quite it's quite good. It's quite good. I would say
It's been a
solid.
common theme, isn't it, this week?
Yeah,
With
the episode of quite good
busy,
stuff.
yeah, quite good stuff, but a bit busy.
Yeah,
Sorry, what would you give it? Go on, give it a rank.
probably. Um, Given that it's been a week since I finished it, I think my thoughts of it have maybe dipped a little bit. But probably 6 out of 10, which maybe
Nice.
feels a bit low. But yeah, one funny little comparison I can make is the way that it depicts the underworld and the Greek mythology with its modern setting is very similar to the way that Loki does it and to the way that Beetlejuice does it in respect to it being quite bureaucratic and very by the numbers and people walking around with checkboards and it's like everything's a company now. Like with Loki, I think in fact before the show dropped, you said it looks like Netflix's answer to The Boys. I think in certain respects, yes, it's not quite as gritty as that. There are moments of shock value and um, profanity and sex and violence and such, but it's nothing mind blowing. I think there's moments where you're like, oh, I'd rather not watch this with my parents, but nothing ever lingers that much. And as I say, it's got loads and loads of like there's trans actors, there's uh, gender fluid actors like Susie Izzard in it, Eddie Izzard, in only a small role, but they do a great job. And I think that was something I definitely appreciated. I did enjoy seeing a show that didn't shy away from all that. It's time now for everyone's favourite part of the episode, the A-list star in our impressions repertoire. God, what a stupid name.
Yeah, the name is so catchy. I love it still. Love it still. I believe this is very much due to Adam's TV show that he's watched. And I mean, it's a long time coming. We're a big fan of him, I think. Who are you adding to the A-list star in our impressions repertoire this week, Adam?
We're adding, yes, Jeff Goldblum.
Can you do the impression of him on the plane where he just makes that weird noise in Jurassic Park?
Yeah. You'll have to get used to Dr. Malcolm. And it's like, so you two dig up dinosaurs? Well, we try to.
It's really impressive, actually. Well done.
Yeah, not bad. I watched the remakes too many times. When they added like trap music behind it, it's like.
Where are you going to pop him on our ranking of our celebrities, Adam?
Well, I don't want to beat down an already trodden path. That well-known phrase, but you
yes, that
you
well-known phrase.
you mentioned that perhaps we should put him on a cloud and give him this godly status on the list, along with us.
Absolutely.
And I can't say I disagree. So I mean, just to give us some perspective, he would be above Richard E. Grant. He would be above Michael Caine, Lego Pharrell Williams, Mark Hamill. It feels appropriate, I think.
It does. I feel it would be a proper crime, to be honest, to put Jeff Goldblum like under Lego Pharrell Williams or under Peter Serafinowicz. So I think godly status on a cloud in the sky is where he belongs.
Yeah, absolutely. We could also add. This is not in the plan of the episode, but we could add the voice of Darth Vader, the voice of Mufasa, Mr. James L. Jones.
Yeah, what a nice shout, right?
Yeah. at time of recording, he passed away yesterday.
Yeah,
Um,
right. Yesterday tea
and I
time.
having watched Revenge of the Sith in the cinema today, you know, obviously that ends with Darth Vader. It felt very,
That's quite poignant, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
it
quite
was very
prophetic.
strange
Yeah.
timing. Um, but what an iconic voice, you know, and obviously he was in other stuff like Coming to America, um, you know, just some classic movies. But I think it feels appropriate. It might be a bit on the nose to put him on the cloud, actually. Now I think about it,
Yeah,
but
it's like that Twitter meme where they've got like Major Tom or whatever his name is. That guy
yeah,
just laps around his garden up with the Queen and Paddington and.
around there, yeah, yeah. What we could do is put Mufasa, you know, when he comes through the sky or in
That's
the
the
cloud.
cloud that Jeff Goldblum and us are sitting on.
Yeah, yeah, that seems quite respectful, actually.
That's fitting. I like that. Good call. Good
Yeah,
call.
we'll do that. Okay, so two Hollywood legends added today, and sorry, and James L. Jones and Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email in. New
I don't know
email
why you
address
would.
alert, by the way. Yeah, right. Hello at movieonup.com. How about that? That's a professional email, right?
Yes,
Hello
brand new email.
at
Let's
movieonup.com.
and one more time for those in the back row.
Hello at movieonup.com.
Cool.
That's
I mean,
fresh, guys.
on a scale of meh email to oh yeah,
Oh,
that's an email.
matron.
Oh, whoops, Mrs. Miggins, you're sitting on my artichokes. We're definitely we're definitely in the latter end.
Please make sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram as well. What is the @ for that one, Adam?
The handle for both is at moving up.
And then we've even got a website now. How about that? It's moveonup.com.
Yes, we are thinking of doing some written pieces there, maybe some highlight videos there. Um, who knows? You know, some
Discussing
polls,
some
maybe some
news, I think,
exclusive
is a quite an
content,
idea.
some news, absolutely.
Yeah, some sort of throwbacks. Just sort of some other bits and bobs, sort of bonus episodes, basically. I think we're going to throw it all up there. So yeah, please do keep an eye out on all the sock meds on the website. And like I said, email in, please do.
Incredible. We might also actually, now I think about it, perhaps behind a paywall, but add some of those photos that we alluded to in the cold open today. We'll work out prices at a later date.
I'm cheap, all I can say.
Yeah. And on that note, we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for listening. Bye for now.